Be sure to go to flipsidegaming.com and use promo code 6 for 10% off on orders over $10. Do the same with the Grizzly Gentleman, 10% off at checkout on your fantastic beard products. Or you could shop via the TCG Player affiliate link in the description down below to help support the show. And last but of course not least, you can go to Grey Viking Games with the affiliate link below to pillage some sweet arena codes. What is up, Planeswalker 06 back with some more Magic the Gathering Arena. Today, why did I say today? This video, well, I might upload this on Monday. It's 5 o'clock right now. I'll figure it out. Regardless, this video, we'll be looking at two more historic decks. I think both are best of 3. They're both on the jankier side. They're still playable. They're just kind of all in on a single strategy. I like to call this like tribal adjacent. They're not tribal in the sense of like a certain creature type. They're tribal in the sense that they're trying to play a lot of essentially the same type of card. For this one, it is Deathtouch tribal. It is Touch of Death, or Bad Touch, Naughty Touch, a bunch of other touch related jokes. Anyway, the idea with this deck essentially is we take advantage of Deathtouch creatures, and Vraska's Swarm's Enemies, and Fangbearer to kill our opponent. We kill all the creatures, and then they die to us hitting them 5 times. Essentially, that's the idea. So we have 3 Foulmire Knights and 3 Knight of the Ebon Legion. Now, the 3 Foulmire Knights are pretty good because they're a 1-mana 1/1 with Deathtouch that does other things. There are plenty. I cannot believe how many of 1-mana 1/1s with Deathtouch. But if they don't do anything, they're not great. We don't have room for, a bunch of little snakes and rats and things. We just don't have room. The reason this one is playable is because of the fact that if we draw it late game, we can also just, draw a card with it. 3 mana, Profane Insight, cool. We draw a card, we lose a life, that's fine. A lot of the other 1-mana 1/1s, they don't do that. And playing Knight of the Ebon Legion, she can get Deathtouch. I'm not sure if Knight of the Ebon Legion is worth it, but at the same time, I feel like it's probably worth it because Knight of the Ebon Legion is just a good card. It's possible that this should be, I think it was like Narfi. No, not Narfi. It was a green Aether Reborn, Aether Revolt card. It was like a 1-mana 1/2 with Revolt and Deathtouch, and if you revolted, you get a 1/1 counter on it. But I figured having a conditional 2/3 with Deathtouch is probably not as good as having a 1-mana 1/2 that can grow larger over the course of the game and can get Deathtouch if it needs to. Yeah. 3 Thoughtseize. We're playing black, and we're playing a mid-rangey deck. So I figured Thoughtseize is probably just where we want to be. We can get rid of board wipe since we are relatively creature-centric, running 24 creatures. And we can just get rid of removal for, Fynn or Shovel. Shovel we have as a 3 of because it's a legendary. We actually have a lot of 3 ofs, but shut up. This card allows us to draw cards and gain life. Yeah, that's pretty much it. We get to put bounty counters on things. We fulfill those bounties. We draw cards and gain life. What's not to love? Shovel's a great dude. Fynn the Fangbearer, also a 2-mana 1/3 with Deathtouch. So it's a little bit different. Only 3 of them because, once again, it's a legendary. Whenever a creature we control with Deathtouch deals damage to a player, that player gets 2 poison counters. Now, we still deal the damage, which is cool, because it means they get to potentially grow with things like Vraska's Swarm's Eminence. But notably, your opponent only needs 10 poison counters. The lower Deathtouch creatures, essentially most of them other than Questing Beast, because Questing Beast is absolutely broke, and Nighthawk, for what it's worth, can also grow. A lot of them just have, really low power. Low power. This doesn't care. We get to threaten our opponent's creatures with our Deathtouchers, because 1 power is enough. We get to threaten our opponent's face with our Fynns. The issue, of course, is that if Fynn dies, we need to draw more Fynns, or else the poison damage is meaningless. The thing about it, though, is that we're still dealing normal combat damage. So even if we get, 4 poison counters on our opponent and then Fynn dies and we don't get to draw another Fynn, we can still kill our opponent with things like Hooded Blightfang, Questing Beast, Garrick Plus, Questing Beast, and I guess Questing Beast. But yeah, Fynn is awesome. I think it's great. That's about it. Gifted Aetherborn is 2 mana, 2/3 with Deathtouch, but also has lifelink. Important against aggressive decks, especially if they're killing a lot of our creatures. It means that we're not going to have necessarily as many creatures because we're going to be blocking with them. So just having a little bit of extra life gain to get to the point where we can start resolving our larger threats like Questing Beast should help. I have 2 Aghanim's Awakening. We're only running 23 lands. I don't know if that's correct. We have a very flat curve. And I'm hoping that 23 is fine. If it's not, I will probably just go to 24. But the Aghanim's Awakening do potentially help us there. It allows us to have an extra black land, but also, if we get to a certain point in the game, we can pay 6 mana for this and get a 1, 2, and 3 drop. We have plenty of those. Might be able to get a 4, but it's only Questing Beast, so it's relatively unlikely that we'll care. We have 3 Hooded Blight Fangs. These are great. 3 mana, 1/4 with Deathtouch. The 1/4 is awesome. I mean, it doesn't die to a Braid, doesn't die to Lightning Strike, doesn't die to all sorts of things that actually are played. It dies to Lava Glow and stuff, but you don't see that very often. Whenever creature you control with Deathtouch attacks, each opponent loses 1 and you gain 1 life. This is for each creature. So if you have turn 1 Fangbearer Knight, turn 2 Shovel, turn 3 Hooded Blightfang, you attack with the Shovel and the Fangbearer Knight. Your opponent's losing 2, you're gaining 2. Your creature's attacking with Deathtouch, so I assume your opponent's not going to block them. And then of course, when you attack on 3, let's say, or on 4, sorry, and you played a Questing Beast, your opponent loses 4, you gain 4. Before damage, that's just what happens. Additionally, whenever one of our Deathtouchers hit a Planeswalker, it means we can destroy that Planeswalker. Vraska, Swarm's Eminence, Assassin's tokens have the ability to do that, but Hooded Blightfang is kind of a Deathtouch Lord in that the Blightfang allows us to just murk Planeswalkers, so very nice stuff. 3 Maelstrom Pulse. We blow up whatever we want. Destroy just none of the permanent, all of the permanents with the same name. Boom. Just blow it up. If it's something we don't want, we blow it up. That's fine. 3 Nighthawk Scavengers. This is just a flying Deathtouch creature. It has 1 power star. It can get bigger, but it doesn't have to. The reason it doesn't have to is because if we're just killing our opponent with Fynn, all that matters is that we have an evasive Deathtouch creature. If we're killing our opponent with Vraska, Swarm's Eminence, by making our Deathtouchers bigger, it doesn't matter if our opponent is getting stuff in their graveyard. Our Scavenger is evasive. If she hits, or he, who cares? I don't care. If the Vampire hits, the Vampire gets bigger with Vraska out, and it'll keep getting bigger with Vraska out. So I don't care. We have 2 Garruk Unleashed. It can make a blocker with a -2, sure. The ultimate, I mean, it helps by just grabbing more Finns and or Blightfangs, depending on what we need. But mostly, we just give a creature +3/+3 and trample. Because, fun fact, Deathtouch plus trample is amazing. Because you only have to assign 1 point of damage to a creature, and then the rest of that stuff is going right to our opponent's face. And because Fynn only cares about dealing at least 1 damage, poison counters. Questing Beast. It's Questing Beast. Shut up. And then 3 Vraska, Storm's Eminence. She's a lord for Deathtouch creatures, and she makes Deathtouch creatures. She's probably the weakest card in the deck, which makes me sad. If I was being more serious with this deck, I'd recognize that and probably cut her for something else, but I don't care. I'm playing Vraska. As I said, we're only running 23 lands. It's possible I'm running too many forests. Or, sorry, too many swamps, because I am also running the Aghanim's Awakening. Don't know. We got Castle Lockdomains, we got the Pathways, we got the Tombs, the Shocks, and we got the Checks, and then we got just some basics. Our sideboard is weird, but shut up. We have 2 Oakham Adversary against any deck that's running green. It can potentially be a 2 mana 2/3 that allows us to draw cards, and if our goal is to just kind of outpace the green decks, then this should be good. 2 Gonti, Lord of Luxury. This is a Deathtouch creature that comes in and gets control, so we can potentially just get more advantage from taking something good of theirs. 2 Rex Sages against any artifact enchantment. Look, it doesn't have Deathtouch, but shut up. You can't do everything, all right? 2 Weathered Runestone, Graveyard, and other shenanigans. I just want to try out Weathered Runestone as much as possible. 3 Scoozes, just against any graveyard decks. 2 Ram-Throughs against other creature decks. This is more removal, essentially, because as long as we have 1 creature on the field with Deathtouch, this technically doesn't always have Deathtouch, we get to just kill a creature. And if, for example, we have Garruk Unleashed out, then what we can do is we plus that thing, we have our creature deal damage to another creature, once again because it's Deathtouch. We only have to assign 1 damage to it, then we can trample over with the rest. If we have Fynn out, then we get to also like put a poison counter on them. Like it works with cool things. And of course, if our opponent has board wipes, we bring in Heroic Intervention because we are a creature deck. And the last deck is Raise the Fields. It's Jund Land Destruction. It's Jund Land Destruction. What do you want from me? 3 Bloodchief's Thirst as early removal. 4 Explore, because the idea essentially is like we just ramp out to blow up everything. That's about it. We ramp up to blow up everything. 4 Explorers to facilitate that. 3 Mind Stones as more ramp, essentially. We've got 3 Treasure Maps. I initially had Mazemind Tome, but it was pointed out that Treasure Map does ramp us as well. Once we scry on it, 3 times? Yeah, 3 times. Then we do get treasures, and those treasures actually can just be used to ramp. Typically, I don't care about drawing with the treasures. I do care more about... Typically, with Treasure Map, I don't care about using the treasures to draw compared to the ability to draw with Mazemind Tome, but here we like the treasures because of the fact that we get to use them to ramp. 3 Klothys Main, we're blowing up lands, and since we're blowing up lands, we can use those lands to ramp. And if we just need to gain life somehow, we get to exile, our Bloodchief's Thirst, our Explorer, maybe we crack the Mind Stone early or something. We get to use that to bolster our life total a bit more. Then we have 3 Binding of the Old Gods. This allows us to blow up any non-land. But Justin, you're playing land destruction. Yes, but this allows us to blow up anything else, essentially. And on the next one, we get to search a library for a forest. Essentially, we get to ramp. And then creatures we control get Deathtouch until end of turn. That doesn't matter. The idea essentially is this removes something and ramps us in a single card. It's possible that this card needs to be cut for something else, but I wanted to try it out. Then we have 3 Casualties of War, jumping 4 to 6. 3 Casualties of War. This blows things up. Haphazard Bombardment blows things up. Awaken the Trolls is a card I'll actually talk about. 6 mana. Expensive. But that's what the ramp's for. But yeah, 6 mana, we destroy a land. Then we get to get a land from any graveyard onto the battlefield under our control. Doesn't come in tapped, we just get a land. Awesome. Then, of course, if an opponent controls fewer lands than us, which they should because we're playing land destruction, then we get 4/4 Trolls with trample equal to the difference. One of the potential issues that the land destruction deck has is that, kind of in that mid-ish game, your opponent can just run you over, right? While you're still trying to blow up their lands, they have some board, even if it's not very large, and you kind of just get boned. Hopefully, the Awakening of the Trolls will come early enough that it's not going to be a problem. It's possible that Binding of the Old Gods either should be more ramp, like Cultivate or something, or Binding of the Old Gods could be Creeping Mold. Star of Extinction blows up a land and deals 2 damage to each creature in each planeswalker. Notably, we're not playing creatures or planeswalkers other than technically Klothys, but she's indestructible, so I really don't care. And then our own trolls. But if we have to use Star of Extinction when we have trolls, we have to use Star of Extinction if we have trolls. Like the plan is not technically to win with the trolls. The plan is to win with the trolls by being mean to our opponent and having them concede because we've blown up all their lands. We have 3 Bedazzle, which is like the perfect card in this deck. It's early game removal, and late game we just get to blow up a land and hit our opponent. Nice. Then we have the Mana Base, which is a thing. We have 4 whole Gnottvold Slumbermound. More land destruction that also comes with a token. It is 7 mana technically, but it's land destruction. It comes in tapped, which is like my main concern. And then of course 2 Memorial to Wars, because this is essentially just a worse Gnottvold. And then the sideboard, we have 3 Thoughtseize against any deck that would like to harm our ability to blow up their lands. 2 Heartless Act, just additional removal if we need it. 2 Weathered Runestone, because literally I just want to test this card because I feel like it's good. 2 Maelstrom Pulse against essentially any deck where we just need more removal that isn't necessarily just creature. 2 Sweltering Suns and 2 Arab Devastation. Essentially this is just like, if our opponent's playing aggro, we can bring in Suns, we can cycle it if we have to, and then we can bring in Hour, which blows up the indestructibility, and we get to yeet Planeswalkers as well. And then, of course, 2 Liliana of the Void, just some extra help against the graveyard decks. So those were, after this is the last video that's going to go up, those were the 6 decks that I'm probably going to be playing first. Once again, if you have any decks that you would like to see me play for Kaldheim, specifically for Historic, I probably not going to play much Standard even, honestly. I remember, I think it was the last set, I think I said that I would be playing Standard like for a couple weeks after a new set comes out. I'm just gonna play Historic decks that focus on new cards. I don't like Standard. I just don't. So we're a historic channel. But yeah, if you have any Historic decks that you'd like to see, either old ones with new cards or entirely new archetypes because of some of the new cards, feel free to put them in the comments, or head over to my Discord, link in the description below, and we can all talk about some decks that I'll be making in the coming days. Reminder, I have a P.O. box. Feel free to send me nonsense. And of course, I'd like to thank my lovely patrons, especially Fogman, Malik, and Balater. Hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, like, comment, subscribe. That stuff really does help with the channel. Like, I'm not kidding you. It helps. Please. Yeah. Until next time, all be one.